Afternoon, it's DJ Sweet Lee for Let the Youth Live. We're all about solutions to keep the young people alive, working with communities across the UK. This is a nationwide epidemic. We're losing so many young people. A massive shout out to Nate Stevens, Pro Boxing, Pop Patrol, big up to you, Ryan. Shout out to Ras Lion King. Massive big up to all the dads out there today. Happy Father's Day. Now, I'm hoping Christella will be joining us soon. I'm not sure if she's going to get up on the live with us. I think she's on the way to work. But if there's any of you who'd like to join me today, I would love to get you up on the live to speak about solutions. Shout out to Wayne Hill. How you doing? Now, yeah, just request if you would like to come up on the live. We've got a lot of things to get through today, but as usual, we're focusing on keeping our young people alive. Now, if you're new to the show and the podcast, please check out the previous podcast that we've got up on Spotify and also Apple Podcasts, also on our YouTube channel, or Let the Youth Live. Bless up to Ras Lion King. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. And yes, big up, man. So we've been working on a lot of initiatives to keep the youth alive, working with lots of other exceptional people, organisations, groups dotted around the UK. We've got the same issues. I must say that London, Birmingham and Manchester have the highest rates of gun crime, knife crime, serious youth violence. Ras is saying, do I have WhatsApp? I do. Now, we work on these initiatives that are specifically to keep the youth alive. And yes, Ras, I'm based in Peckham, East Dulwich kind of sides. Right, let's get this person up on the live. I'm not sure who it is. Right, we've got Nate Stevens, Pro Boxing, on the live. Just adding him up now. And if there's anybody else who wants to come up, just request. Right, big up to you, Nate.
How you doing? You okay?
Yeah, good, man. Good to see you up on the live. So, yeah, what's your view on, what's going on out here?
To be honest, I think it's a bit of a madness. I think we are part of the problem in the sense of the way that nobody's ever held accountable anymore for their actions.
Definitely, yeah.
And I think I'm going to sound a bit old school and a bit old fashioned with this now, but I think going back to some sort of national service because I just feel like there's no morals, no manners, respect no more.
No.
When I was
it's like a global thing now. I'm witnessing this across the world.
Yeah, massively. I actually work with young children. I work for a company called Bright Star. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
Oh, right, I have, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so, and to share one of the boys' stories, he isn't from this country, but basically he was homeless, and he went and got himself a job just to ensure that he could stay in school.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, like that was really inspiring for me to hear that, you don't hear of kids from this country doing stuff like that. I don't know, it's hard. Do you give hard love? I don't know. I don't really know what the answer is.
And what you said about the National Service, that's something that's been addressed on this podcast. It's something that a lot of people have suggested over the last year. We've been consistently doing these lives, right?
Yeah.
Speaking to people across, like yourselves, who are working in the field. We've had like parents as well, carers, community members, right? Input. But that was one of the things, you know. But how do we get, how, you know, like if that's going to work, right? How do we get something like that in place, right? Because what we've discovered this year, right, with solutions that the government know work, we know work, right? They're not doing them. We're not able to get to them even, right? To confront them, right?
Yeah.
This has been kind of our struggle, that even if you've got the solutions, right, getting them to actually do what we're suggesting. The only thing we've come up with is that we know if we get a cabinet meeting called, right? This is the only way that laws can be changed in a matter of days,
You
right?
know,
And
I
they
think
can implement solutions.
unfortunately, um, since I've kind of been in the field a little bit, it's sad to see that it's a money game for a lot of the people that can actually make a change and make a difference. They're not bothered. Like, it's if
No.
you know, if it's gonna cost too much money, they're not interested. And it's like, come on, you know, we're talking about,
The
you
thing
know,
I've
our children's
noticed as
future.
well is we have a lot of people out there though, in, you know, in front of a camera, right? Photo opportunities, looking that they care,
Yeah,
and even saying, you know, to bereaved family members, you know, what they're gonna do. But it just seems to be all bullshit
yeah.
talk, right? There isn't any action, but it's how we go about getting the action, right? I'm open to any ideas how we get that attention. I mean, is it a case of us having to get within politics?
Do you know what? I think that's the only thing, because when you look at the system and the way that it's set up, people that are at the top are people that have never experienced hardship. They don't know what a hard life is. Now, there's people like ourselves that have, and I'm just speaking from my own experiences. I'm proof that you can change things around. It's not about how you start; it's about how you finish.
Yeah.
And I was a bad kid. Do you know what I mean? I was a bit naughty. I got involved with wrong things. But you can change. You know, it can be changed, and it's showing people that it's possible. And you know, having the odd one or two people doing these types of things isn't enough. And I genuinely do think, you know, we do need people, people for the people, if that makes sense. We need people in power,
Yeah.
that are for the people, not these people that are.
That are in already. Who? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's shocking. It's so shocking. Like the other thing we've done over the last year, right? So there's been loads of people, right, who have written to their MPs, right? Because we've tried this route, right? So throughout the UK, so we've had, you know, people from different cities, different towns, writing to their MPs, right? Most times they either got blanked completely, which is what happened to me. 9 months and I got an answer which was, if you still need my help, please email again. After 9 months, right? And this is with the life-saving initiatives. I've got other people, they got responses, right? And it was just bullshit. It actually was bullshit. You know, yes, I'm going to go to Parliament. Yes, I'm going to do this. Nothing, right? So we've tried that route, right? Trying to get somebody from within politics to push certain things, right? But they're definitely the MPs should be demanding an emergency Cobra meeting, right? We've never had one of those, right? This is something I've really researched into, and it has to be something, they have to call it, if it's affecting the nation.
yeah.
Now, this is affecting the nation. This is our children, our youth, right? They're not being protected. They're not safe
It,
even to go to school.
it's
There's knife fights on the buses.
it's getting worse. Like, it's
Yeah, and
really getting worse.
I bet you didn't think it could get any worse, like myself, because I already said, I don't know, 8, 10 years ago, enough's enough. Like
I'm,
this,
I'm sorry to cut you. I mean,
that's
growing
fine.
up, when I was, you know, involved with some of the things I was involved with, it was never that bad. Like, um, and I'm not, I'm not making an excuse or justifying anybody's behavior back then, but when things happened, there was reasons behind them.
Yeah,
Like now, it's senseless.
yeah.
It's
It could be
it's
over anything at all.
yeah, like, and that's the scary thing. And I
Hmm.
genuinely worry for my kids. You know,
Yeah, me too.
it's upsetting to see. It really is upsetting to see. And the like I said, like back in the day, you'd walk down the street, you know, you wouldn't be so disrespectful to a policeman because you know you'd get a kick in.
Yeah,
And I genuinely do think people have become too comfortable with acting however they feel like and having no consequence for their actions.
yeah. And it's true. There isn't, there isn't consequences. Social media is a huge one. We're seeing a lot of retribution, retaliation, murders over social media
Yeah,
and disrespect.
yeah, yeah. It's sad. It's sad to see. It really is.
It is. But it's about
Frustrating.
how do we make changes? What I've discovered on this journey of mine, um, I knew the system's been set up. Everything as it is the way it's been designed to be,
Yeah,
right? But we are able to change that system. And I don't know if people know this, right? It has been designed to be adjusted, right?
yeah,
But it takes people coming together to make those changes and attack each different part of that system, right? We know literally, yeah, what they are, but kind of with Let the Youth Live, we're prioritizing the now, right? Because we're seeing so many. It's not just the youth, but we're working specifically with the youth. So the bleeding catastrophically to death on the floor, right? Which was something that I researched and I looked into because I'm thinking this is not right. Why and how is this happening? Right? I've researched into it. I'm now working with a lady in Birmingham who came up with the idea of bleed control kits,
yeah,
right? Which are proven to save lives. They should be the law, right? Which we are. We've actually got something in place that's going through Parliament. That's one piece of law that we are working to get changed, but that could take, 2 years. I just don't want to see any more young people bleeding out on the street when they could be kept alive,
yeah,
right? So it's about stemming that blood flow. It's about, the equipment that we're using is authorised by the ambulance service. It's the only kit that is. They're logged with the ambulance services. So they can be directed to people. They can be used with somebody just talking to you over the phone. We run training classes as well. So we teach people how to use these kits, but also what to use if you haven't got a kit, right? Because a lot of times we're seeing people just filming, and that's disgusting as
yeah.
well, rather than
Helping.
getting involved, trying to help, yeah, keeping someone alive. It's all about this clout chasing, this filming people's last moments. The amount of the people across the UK who've come on to this podcast, and it's horrifying, to the point they've even said, people should be getting nicked for it, to the point you can source who filmed that first.
I think this is the thing, isn't it? Like, it's I feel like, how can I put this politically correct? With bread, uh, I think the generation now is very soft in comparison to how it was. You know, you'd see something on the street previously, you know, that isn't quite right, and you get involved.
Mm.
People don't want to do that now. I feel like people are scared to get themselves involved.
Yeah.
Which
But then
with
on the other hand, right, so there was something I saw recently, and it was I don't know whereabouts it was, but it was a big crowd of people. You had some guy had a huge weapon. It was like the size of him. He's slashing that about. But you had the groups of people who were just like bystanders, but they were in it, you know, like following it, and instead of going and hiding for cover, which you would expect that
yeah,
they would, or you know, somewhere safe, a safe area, but they're there all filming it. um it's just such a crazy world right now, what we're witnessing. And whereabouts are you based?
just on the outskirts of Birmingham. So
Right, I thought with your accent, yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, you've got it tough over there. Like, as I was saying earlier, London, Birmingham, Manchester, right? Highest stats. You know, but Birmingham are doing amazing, right, with the bleed control, right? You were the first bleed control city, and that's down to my friend Lynn, who lost her son. He was stabbed, and he lost his life. So she researched into bleed control kits
yeah,
and had to source them from America because there isn't anywhere here that makes them. And a lot of lives have been saved. But in London, I mean, we're running the campaign here. They don't want to know about
it's
bleed control.
crazy, isn't it?
Um, it's absolutely, it's like things are back to front.
It's like I feel like we're having to, because of how severe things have got, we're having to worry about the aftercare rather than putting the prevention in place and saying, you
Yeah,
know, educating people. Because I genuinely think a lot of the youth don't realise that you stab somebody, the likelihood is they're probably gonna die.
yeah.
Let's be honest about this, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen some crazy things where kids will they'll play games where there's a point system
Oh
to
yeah,
maybe
the
stab
scoreboard.
people. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
If
like,
people
wow.
look on YouTube, I mean, that's all still everywhere. You can see which gangs have got the highest scores for what, you know, which body part they've killed the person or injured them. That's been going on a
For
good
years.
lot of years. Yeah.
Yeah, and nothing's changed. Nothing's been put in place to
Mm-hmm.
prevent it. I genuinely do think, you know, a lot of the youth need educating now.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's how do we put something in place? I think working with Bright Star, I feel very beneficial, very privileged to be
Yeah.
part of the company and what they do.
Yeah.
Because you get to see the change. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you see the kids flourish.
Yeah. And that must be lovely to see as well.
It's wicked. And you know what the thing is? The most amazing thing about it is it's them. It's nothing to do with us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You just
that
give them the
yeah,
tools.
capable of doing it, but it's just having that right support for them to be able to and enable them to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just giving them the tools. But then it's crazy because then working with some of them, they want to, but then the fear that they have is, oh, well, you know, I'm going to walk down the street and just because I've changed, the other person isn't going to. It's not
Yeah,
going to stop them from sticking a knife in me,
no.
you
And the
know.
other thing they're up against as well, I mean, it doesn't even matter if you've not got, you know, you're not in a beef, or people can just pull up in your area, jump out. Oh, you look familiar. You're friends with so and so,
Yeah.
or and that's an altercation, or a stabbing, or a like. I feel it for the youth, right? I mean, I must say, right, Sadiq Khan he's putting a lot of money, right, into initiatives, or well, like activities, opportunities, right? But what's missing, right, is how these kids get to these things, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's even a job, whether it's training, whether it's an event, right? En route, they could buck their ops or just be in the wrong place at the wrong time, right? They can't even, I mean, go into school, right? I've met people on this journey, they've lost their kids in their school uniform
Yeah.
after school being murdered, not in a gang. And this is wrong. Like, the amount of parents, families that are losing their young people.
It's upsetting and it is sad. I mean, it's very frustrating, to be honest. Very frustrating.
And what we find a lot as well is that these bereaved parents, right, family members, they're out there trying to stop this happening to other families, right? They're supporting the initiatives to change the law. They're getting involved in, but they're mainly the people that are, right? So we're kind of struggling with getting everyday people who haven't lost someone to get involved, even if it's, I mean, we've got one of them we've stopped now, but we had 3 life-saving initiatives that were really easy for people, because we realised that trying to get them on marches, right, it's quite hard to get enough people. Even for training and workshops, like even when you do it on Zoom, it's still hard to get them to come. So what I did like an open petition directly to Boris and Sadiq, right? So that's one of the initiatives, which is demanding the emergency cabinet meeting, right? Because we want law this year changed, not just hang about, let's see what happens next year. We've been doing that. We cannot continue to keep doing that. We have to do something different this year, right? So on that petition, we're demanding bleed control is law throughout all public buildings, pubs, clubs, right? Because at the moment, we've got bereaved family members, right, and community people trying to raise the money between us to put them in our own communities, right? Because we can't wait for the government right now. And this is tried and tested. So that's like one thing. Metal detectors in schools, right? They did a rollout of them 4 years ago. And if you see the headlines of Sadiq Khan, right, Sadiq's urging all schools, because it's an emergency, there's so much going down, like, right? So I thought, brilliant. But what happened? He rolled out in 12 schools, never mentioned it again.
Yeah. But that's the thing, isn't it? They feel like that's enough. And unfortunately, I think, that's where you do fight a losing battle. And it's very frustrating. And I think it's going to take for everybody to pull together to try and combat it, There's another company. I don't know if you heard of them. Birmingham Saves No.
Oh yeah, no, they started up roughly the same time as myself, a little bit after, because we did a nationwide campaign. They were part of that. That's when they started up. And I did, so we had 53 towns and cities who all came together on the same day and said, we've had enough. Nothing happened. But yes, so I know them. Yeah, I know them well.
It's frustrating. You feel like you're banging your head against a brick wall, don't you?
Yeah, and that's why we've been consistently doing this live, right, to get input, to try and get to the bottom of why, right, and then ruling out certain things that, we thought possibly might have helped or worked, right? The other thing we're noticing is big platforms, people who could make a difference, people who've got huge followings, they don't want to do nothing, not even share a post, right? And this is even knife crime groups as well. Certain knife crime groups. Yeah. So it's been a real eye-opener this year. We've seen things and people for who they are, right? We've realised that we need to just go with the people who fully get it, not the ones we've got to break it down for, explain it, you know, why. And the right people just know. We know,
Yeah.
right? We know what's going on. We don't need any more proof. We don't need people to send us videos on it. Like, we know. And we know something needs to change.
Yeah, definitely.
And I've been trying to get hold of Sadiq Khan to the point of getting a meeting with him just to put these questions to him, right? I thought I was going to get the opportunity this week and I was all excited. I had my big page of questions for him and he sent his deputy. So I ended up going online and discovered that the whole focus of the whole online event was going to be very difficult to put in what I wanted to talk about, because it seems they set these meetings and these online things, right, so they don't have to speak about actually doing something now
Yeah.
that's going to make a change.
It's I just have no faith in them at all, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's the same with the police. There's no, like...
Do you know what? I'll be honest with you. I feel for them. I do feel for the police because, alongside doing what I do during the week, on the weekends I work as a door supervisor, and their hands are very much tied now. You know, it's crazy. Like, I do like some of the abuse I watch these police officers take. And I'll give you an example. As a female police officer, there was a bit of an altercation. I went to support. A guy punched her in the face. So I restrained him.
Yeah.
I let him go. He's drunk. I don't know if it's because they don't want the paperwork or, do you know what I mean? But he was let go. And I'm thinking,
it's not a good example, is it?
Like, shoot him. Like, I am all for, if you can't hear, you must feel.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's how else do you learn?
Yeah.
You have to learn somehow, don't you?
Especially when it comes to stuff like that, you know. Before it's too late, I think, you know, with the way that some of the people carry on and what they're carrying on with, if there's no intervention, you know, whether it be, I think sentences need to be more, you know, if you're caught carrying, because I feel like people still get a slap on the wrist. I don't.
Yeah, and chance after chance.
Yeah, like when you go out with a knife, you clearly, I mean, people have different reasons as to why they're carrying a knife, why they say they have different reasons, but the intent is there.
Yeah.
You know, so for me, that's it. Case closed. Like, something needs to be done. And the thing is, now prison isn't. It's a bit of a holiday camp.
Yeah.
You know,
and the way it's promoted, glamorized, like this is the whole setup of the whole the mainstream radio, the TV, the films, like it's all, and the street culture that we're all involved in, you know, that pushes all of that narrative, that whole glamorization, you know.
Well, we say to a lot of the kids, a lot of these people that you hear talking on these songs and this music, they ain't never lived that life.
No.
You know, that they're telling you they have.
Yeah. Well, but the thing is, I think where like record labels, it's giving the impression you talk about that stuff, you're going to get bundles of money, you're going to get record deals, you're going to the demise of, you know, the youth, the killing of people, that sells. Yeah. But they should be held accountable, all these mainstream, you know, and the big platforms.
But when did that become a thing, you know, that we cared so much, we cared so little about human life that money becomes the priority?
Yeah, exactly. When did that happen?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It really is.
It's upsetting. It is very upsetting. And the thing is, there's a lot of the young people that are out there they're not bad. They're just misguided.
Yeah.
Just misguided, and some of them just need their arm around them.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I did a workshop recently, right, regarding it was teenagers, how to deal with teenagers, mental health, you know, if you're working with young people. And these two ladies, they did a brilliant workshop, right, breaking it down. But only in the last 15 to 20 years, there's been research done on young people's brains, right? Now, for a long time, they thought that young people, their brains are developed by, say, I don't know, 15, 16, right? Fully. But apparently the front part of their brain only fully matures by around 25, right?
Okay.
Now, that part of the brain is what, you know, risk factors, right? Organisation skills,
Yeah.
knowing. So it's not fully formed yet, but we kind of leave them to their own devices, really.
Yeah.
You know, like with all the grooming that's going on, the county lines, right? They need to be protected.
100%. 100%. And I kind of, you know, I don't want to go off track, but the way that the system is set up with things, it allows a lot of bad people to get away with a lot of shit.
Yes.
Going off track a little bit, for example, obviously you mentioned grooming, whether it be for sexual exploitation or drugs. You know, it's mad. It's quite frustrating and quite worrying to see that the government don't do nothing about it. At Bright Star we had a training course, and to learn some of the things that I learned in that course was a bit like, wow, it was a real, like,
eye opener. Yeah.
Yeah, it really was. And it was just like, for example, you know, the legal age of consent is 16 years of age. You're still a child.
Yeah.
You're still a child. So there's people out there, men, women, that will, I'm going to say, prey on people of that age.
Yeah.
They're still children, but they get away with it because the law says that they can. You know, it's ridiculous.
But they're still being preyed on. Yeah. And I think from my perspective of it all is that they are being preyed on, from whether it can be anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like we have to do something. Like you were saying earlier, you know, people be accountable, right? Instead of what we find, there's a serious stabbing incident, everyone's up in arms, you know, oh, it's this, but blame, but not, right, this is what we better do, or this is what we need to do, and now.
No, I think that is the problem. Nobody wants to take accountability and say, look, like I said, we are part of the problem. You know, we've allowed things to get this far, where from a long time somebody should have said, oh, whoa, this can't run.
No.
You know, and I think personally, this is just my opinion. I think parents have a lot to answer for.
Yeah, we have started up a group, actually been going for about a year now, and it is an initiative from the mayor, so I think it's brilliant. It's something that they should have done a long time ago. So literally they're training parents and carers up to then be able to speak to other parents and carers to help them, right? So we go around speaking in different schools, online, different events, meeting other parents and carers. So any problems or worries, we can try and help them. If we can't help, we can direct them to services in their area, right? So this is like a pilot scheme in Southwark that we're doing. But what we found is the struggle to get parents and carers on board, right? Because I would have thought yeah, people would be jumping to get, you know. But I mean, there was a class of 22 of us, and it's literally two,
Wow.
me and another lady. And we've been doing it. I mean, we've held it all together for the year, but we're now doing another trainings, you know, and praying this time more parents get involved. But we have, I mean, we've got some parents out there who, oh, my child's all right. My child's a good child, right? And then you're like, but hang on, it doesn't matter if your child, you know what I mean? It's when they go out, they want to
Yeah.
go to the park, or there's a party on, or they want to go and meet their friends.
Yeah.
We want stuff in place to keep them protected. I mean, one of the things we came up with, and I mean, I've put this to Mopac, the mayor's office. I went on months ago, right? And I said, look, no one trusts the police. They don't. Even people who might have in the past, they don't trust them anymore. The main way, right, you have to build up that trust again, right?
To be honest, though, I think that in itself is another massive problem. A lot of the police now are children.
Yeah.
A lot of them are children, you know.
Yeah.
I actually applied to be a police officer.
Oh wow. Yeah.
You know, this was going back quite a few years now. Just because of my life experience, you know, I've lived in very different diverse communities. So
yeah.
I'm a bit of a chameleon. I'm able to get on with different.
Yeah, I think you'd be
groups.
Amazing. So what happened then? Why? Yeah, I think you'd be amazing.
So basically, I done my test. At the time, I wanted to apply for West Midlands. I failed by 1 mark.
Oh.
And West Mercia at the time they weren't recruiting. And your search assessment only lasts for a year.
Oh, right. And then you just got to, redo it.
Do it again. But at the time I was, you know, I went on to something else. And
it obviously wasn't meant to be, and what you're doing now is obviously the right path. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. But I just think that they need people that no nonsense type of people, you know, within that force. You know, whereas at the minute they've got people that are scared of their own shadow.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know if you've seen a thing the other day. There was a gentleman in London, and they tasered him, and he jumped off the bridge.
Oh my God! Yeah.
You know,
that was horrifying to watch. That. Oh my God.
It's just like you could have dealt with that a lot better.
Yeah, they just look. He's so scared.
Yeah.
Like it was over the top. He didn't have to do that, and there definitely could have been a different, ending to that.
Definitely, and I think that's the problem. You know, when we start looking at these people that are put in place to protect.
Yeah, protect and serve.
It's not happening. Yeah. It's not happening because, like I said, they're scared.
No.
They're scared of their own shadow.
Attack first, and then worry about anything else. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's shocking. Like even that side of things, right? The things I've already seen and heard regarding the police, and it's getting worse.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand why people say like they need to just go and then retrain, but what people are saying is who's retraining them?
Yeah.
Because
it's
But I mean, our idea was what we've had throughout, the last year, what people suggested was having patrols, street patrols, right? But they have to be police and community together, right? So patrolling estates, patrolling the times before and after school, not inside schools, outside of schools. So, when they come out, the shops, the buses home, so they get to and from school safely.
And
right?
This is the thing, there's not enough of that. Prevention is better than cure. And what I've noticed with the police, they're more reactive. They want to respond to stuff once it's already happened. It's too late. You've got a kid dead on the floor.
Yeah,
Stop it from happening.
exactly.
You know, if your
But
presence is there and the right people are employed to do the job, I mean, to get in now, you have to have a fucking degree.
yeah,
A policing degree. What do I
crazy.
need a degree for? I know
Yeah.
the difference
So
between
real
right and wrong.
life, isn't it? Real life's good enough, mate.
You know. But
It's crazy. It is. But
it,
it's about, I mean, my thing is just because it's been so many years, right? I mean, I used to support people within the field, right? But then it got to a point like, why is nothing changing,
yeah,
right? There's something up here, right? And this is after me approaching lots of people in the field, doing lots of research, right? Trying to get to the bottom of this is weird. Like, but I think, like you said earlier, a lot is money. Comes down to the money, especially with weapon sales,
yeah,
right? The guns that come to our communities, they're not making their own way there,
yeah,
right? And when you trace them back, like that was another suggestion. Stop and search if they're doing. They don't need any more of them. They need to go for the big boys. They need to be going for the ones who aren't on the street, right? The ones who are keeping away. And the big, when you do research, right? Because I've been told before, because I started looking kind of right into where they're coming from, and people were like, "No, you want to be careful, yeah. You're gonna go missing, yeah." Like, but um, but yeah, do your own research, yeah, because it's shocking, right? Where these weapons are coming from. So it's big companies out there,
yeah.
right? But you know, they need to be made accountable. Right? Little old
100%.
me can't make them accountable on my own, but they need to be made accountable, right? We need to get to the ones responsible for bringing them into certain estates and
Yeah.
neighbourhoods.
But again, I think without trying to sound like too much of a conspiracy theorist, you know, it's like certain certain places are meant to be just. I feel like they're meant to be held down, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
If you look at certain communities, you'll look and such people have put with such and such people, you know, and so on. And it's like, well, okay, where are the equal opportunities? You know, what, because, you know, I'm from a shitty area in Birmingham, that means that I have to remain within that area. Why aren't I allowed to break out and do better?
yeah, exactly. It's like we're held down in these communities. Poverty,
Yeah.
you know, being poor, like, and it's not right. You know, like our youth should be able to have fun. Actually, like, you know, like when we were younger, where you could enjoy yourself, you know, relax, be young, have fun, make your mistakes.
Yeah.
But like you were saying earlier, it doesn't take anything hardly to lose your life out here.
The thing is as well, now you've got kids that you know, dad's not around, mom's not working, but they're earning money, and they're, believe it or not, these 15-year-old, 16-year-old kids are the ones that are the breadwinners for the family home. And then because that's the only income coming into the house, the parent that's there is like, oh, well, it's not right what you're doing, but we need to live, we need to survive. You know, and that's
what I mean. And that is to keep them alive, yeah.
Yeah, and
you know, putting gas and electric on, food in the cupboards.
People think it's a load of bollocks, and that don't happen. I'm like, you really have no
concept of what it's really like out here.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of people like that who, just don't get it, don't understand it, because they're in their own, you know, secluded world.
Yeah.
But it's not like that, is it, out here?
I think a lot of these young people as well that are involved with selling drugs, and you know, they've shown skills that they could go on to be you know, business owners. They're entrepreneurs. That's how I see it. If you can go and sell drugs and earn money, Yeah, you can go and earn money with a business.
Yeah. I
But
mean, I was just going to say, I've thrown it out there a lot while I've been doing this podcast over the last year. Yeah, the legalization of drugs, right? Now, the war on drugs that's been going on, and is, they're always the war of drugs. The children are at the end of that. At the end of the line, our children are being preyed on. This is why they're being groomed, right?
yeah,
That's another thing I would like to see, is the legalization. I'm not sure if I want the legalization or the decriminalization yet, but
can
either one.
I was gonna say, somebody's put something in the comments. They said, true, but also it's a generational thing, meaning lack of positive role models.
Role models. Yeah.
Well, let me ask, what is a role model? And this is something we do at Bright Star. We explain,
Yeah.
because somebody could a
That told
murderer,
me they said dig a D.
well, could a murderer, could a rapist be a role model? Ask yourself that question. And my answer to that is yes, because they're showing you what not to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
The road not to go down.
exactly. My mum's an ex-heroin addict. Yeah, I've been around my mum's been in abusive relationships and so on and so forth. And for me, it was like I looked at that and I was like, that's not me. You know, that's not how I don't want to be like that.
Yeah.
So whether it was done in the right way, it was still a role model for me. So I
So
don't
you
really...
knew that's not what you wanted, because you tend to get in families, so you get some that are the opposite of what went on.
Yeah.
Because they know they definitely don't want that. And then, like with saying drinking and stuff like that, then you've got, some out of the family who will end up being drinkers and going down that route.
But they're the
like
ones...
for yourself and me, it's the opposite of what we've seen. Yeah. And that is the lesson, isn't it? That you're going to do different. Yeah. But if you hadn't seen that, then you wouldn't really know. Yeah.
But that's the thing, and I think it's showing them that it's not written, you don't have to be what you don't have to be involved with the shit. You can, at the end of the day, you can make mistakes, it's inevitable, but you're human at the end of the day. We all do it.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's about how you end up, and use the negatives and turn them into positives. I'm a great believer in that. I don't believe in... My brother's always said to me, lessons, never losses. We always learn.
Yeah, you always learn, yeah.
And I live by that now. Like, something might not go my way. Well, I've learned. I know to do better for next time. And I think those messages there, we need to be putting into the community and into our young people, and those are the types of role models. It doesn't matter whether it's a negative or bad. It's just making them see like it can work either way. Somebody's doing wrong things, use it to make you be better.
Yeah.
But I just want
to shout out Christella, my friend, who works on the Let the Youth Live with me. I'm not sure if she's going to be able to come up on the live. You at work, darling? So sure. But so I mean, we've been doing this podcast for like I said, the last year, consistently. I was doing it before, but just not as consistently. Like, I mean, we were doing 3-4 podcasts a week, getting as many of community we can get on board, just to hear from people, what's going on in their area, what fears they have, what solutions they thought of. And we literally, it was weird because over the years I'd written like a list of what my solutions were from doing research and stuff. Then we had all the people from the communities across the UK, all their input, and literally the same list.
Yeah.
So, and it's stuff on there that we know works, right? So I don't know if you knew that in Glasgow, they had the same problem as us with knife crime. It was much worse, murder rate really high, right? They did a gang truce and it worked, right? the government here know all about it. They're not trying, they're not interested in it. They're not, and you wonder why, because it worked.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, like I said, I think with the government in this country, you're banging your head against a brick wall.
I mean, they need to go as well. Like, then they just see you later.
Did
Like,
you know, somebody said something to me the other day when we was in the gym. They turned around and said, excuse me, sorry, that anybody that's a politician should be made to go and live within these communities so they can see what real life is.
oh yeah, that'd be brilliant. Just I'm envisioning it now. Oh my God. Even
You know.
one little thing that we just would be nothing to us, they, oh my God, they'd be horrified, shocked, like, oh.
I genuinely think, you know, it'd be a real eye opener for a lot of them, and they would think, shit, they'd realise what's going on.
Yeah.
You know,
What is going on out here? But yeah, it's getting, it's like an MP, right? When you look up a definition of an MP, right? It's like being known for telling the truth, being ethical, right? Having empathy. I can't name any that have any of that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And that's a problem.
Yeah, because they're running our country.
Yeah.
But I know, what I do know is we have to get an emergency cabinet meeting called, right? Because that is the only way we can get law changes quickly, right? So it's how we get that done. So whether it's going to take enough people demanding that, or with signs, you know, going somewhere. Somebody suggested going to MPs' houses. My luck, I'll probably get nicked. You know, but if I thought it would help, right, I'd do it. Yeah. I would definitely do it, right? It's about, putting them on the spot. I'm just going to see what Christella's saying there. Oh, shout out to Remzino, who was locked in. Christella's saying, we need to work together. Yes. Welcome, everybody. They don't care. We know that they chat so much shit. Yeah, we do. I mean, me and Christella have thought about, you know, just getting like a PA system, going outside certain places, you know. Something has to happen this year. We're adamant, right? That something, I mean, I'm seeing, you know, there's a lot, we're getting people on board who are pushing, you know, but there's not enough of us yet. It's how we get the right people on board, enough of us to push what we're doing. Shout out Trey Trizzy London as well. Enough love to you.
It's crazy though, because there's people out there, you know, that, especially within the boxing community, that have, you know, there's gloves up, knives down, you know, and it falls on deaf ears, you know. It's mad.
Yeah. So there was a guy who came onto our podcast, been on quite a few times actually, and one of his suggestions was like hosting like a cage rage thing. So when they have beefs, that they get in the cage, and that it would be sponsored by big companies. Is that your Wi-Fi? I think you're going around. Big up to you, Trey. I'd like to get you up on the live if you're up for it today as well. Right, I think Nate's Wi-Fi's frozen. And happy Father's Day to anyone out there. Right, I think that was his Wi-Fi. Right, if he comes back, then I'll add him back up. But big up to Nate. So so where we're at, literally, right, we are looking to get Boris and Sadiq's attention. We want the emergency cabinet meeting. We want law changes, and we want them this year. We've had enough. Too many people are dying, right? We've got the solutions. We want like-minded people on board. And for anyone who's listening today as well, Oh, Trey Trizzy saying he's cooking porridge. Lovely. I do like my porridge. Um, yeah, so what we'd love for people to do, check out our previous podcasts, right, on Spotify and also Apple Podcasts, and please leave us a review, all right? We need the reviews, okay? So please leave us a review, because obviously we want to promote this podcast. We're all about solutions. That's the only thing we're looking at, all right? How we keep the young people alive, all right? We're in that situation. It's, you know, this is where we're at. Shout out to Her Spirit Has Awakened. Lovely to see you. All right. Shout out the US crew. Yeah, so we just had Nate on from Birmingham. What a wonderful conversation. Such a pleasure to get him on. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get back, because it looked like his phone had just, had Wi-Fi'd out or battery was going. Something I want to quickly touch on before I finish up today, unless he comes back or somebody else wants to come on the live. But I hope everybody's having a lovely day today. Now, we had two people I'm going to talk about who lost their lives quite recently. And that was a young man called Tion Campbell, who I know his uncle. And I think he was only 15, 16, and lost his life in New Cross. Massive shout out to Tank D, who's just joined us. And also there was Hypo, UK artist, who was also stabbed, lost his life at a party. Now, why I wanted to talk about these two is the fact that this is not just the youth. This is young people and older people losing their lives. Now, we are specifically looking at young people and the youth because this is Let the Youth Live. The reason why we were started was because young people and children need people to look out for them, all right, and protect them. Now, we've seen that that is missing, right, out there. You know, lots of opportunities now, money being ploughed into lots of activities, training, workshops, right? But what's not happening is anything in place to keep them safe, all right? Keep them, you know, safe from violence, even including the social media, all right? So we focus just on that side. Today we are, we're speaking about, you know, a person who's older, who's lost his life. Now, the similarities here, I thought that. If you want to come back on, you can. It's up to you, all right? I thought that your battery had gone. All right, so just request if you want to come back on. So, so these two, right, so you've got Tion Campbell, very, very young, lost his life. We've got Hypo, okay, all in London, all right? Now, what happened in these cases? These were one-on-one incidences, right? But the person went off, got a weapon, and came back and killed them, right? So we're seeing that a lot happening, all right? You know, like back in my day, it wasn't like that. It was, you know, fist fights. It was, you know, you might get bruised up, broken things, but you're not losing your life, all right? Now, that's what happened there. So, you know, real like pussy behaviour, what's going on out here. And communities, families having to deal with all of this. Now, where this is leading me, all right, now, Tion Campbell had his funeral, and at that funeral, groups of youths rolled up with huge machetes, Rambos. Altercation takes place, and somebody at that funeral gets stabbed in the neck. Now, this type of stuff has been going on. I've heard about this a lot, right, at the funerals. I've heard of brothers who've died, it's their funeral, and at their funeral, their other brother gets murdered, right? Now, how much more are families expected to take? How much more can communities take, right? It's down to us to actually make changes, get these changes made. This cannot continue, right? And we need your help, okay? We need your help to push this platform, this podcast, right? We need your help with the petition that we're running, okay, which has only got life-saving initiatives on it. It takes 30 seconds, right, to sign the petition. We've also got the bleed control campaign, right, which we suggested last week. You know, if you can donate to it, even £1, right? If everybody on this Instagram, on my Instagram accounts, just put in £1, right? The link is in the GoFundMe. If you haven't got any money, right, share it for us, okay? Right? This is to put in our communities. At the moment, I am raising money for London communities, right, to put the bleed control kits in, because we're very behind. These should be in place for everyone. Just think of bleed control is like having plasters throughout the whole of London and the whole of the UK, right? So we get them in place, right? Then we can get to work on other things, right? That are highly important, like the massive shout out to Gangster Dub, who's just joined us. He was just saying the Instagram was bugging out. It does do that. It's a hit and miss, isn't it, really, with this? But yeah, where was I? Right, so literally, we need your help and support, okay? So the GoFundMe, donation, or if you're a gym person, right, donate some miles at the gym. Send us a screenshot of your miles on the machine, right? Because we're running an initiative where £1 per mile, right? Christella, she's earned £50 so far, so big up to Christella, all right? But the bleed control kits cost £100 each. The cabinets are £600. Please check out all the information that's up on our pages and the YouTube channel. Gangster Dub is saying, hey sis, I've been here for ages but couldn't see anyone's comments and there was no request button. Oh, that's weird. Definitely didn't see you up on here before. Shout out to Kel's Music as well. But yes, hope you're all having a wonderful Father's Day. All right, enjoy it. Okay. Sending lots and lots of love out to you all. All right. But yeah, so the initiatives are, like I